If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Freddy's Foundation at #PopTheTap at freddythepizzaman.com. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com, or email freddythepizzaman@gmail.com.
This is Inside the Pizza Oven, the podcast that explores the best, most innovative, and relevant pizzerias and restaurateurs in America. Now here's your host, Freddy the Pizza Man, Freddie Bello.
Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome back to Inside the Pizza Oven. I am Freddie the Pizza Man. Hope all is well. Good to be back, and thank you to all the great feedback. The last episode, Nick Caparelli there from Connecticut, that was a great time talking Matt Patricia, talking pizza, Paul Pescoloni, and all that. Just a great time. And thank you for the feedback there on iTunes and rating the show. Much appreciated. And keep them coming. Remember to find the podcast. You can find that on iTunes, YouTube, and I put it all out on social media. That's Freddie the Pizza Man. FREDI, the Pizza Man, and the website is freddythepizzaman.com. Today we're going to be talking to a couple guests. First, we're going to start off with co-owner and co-founder of Pizzamico.com. It's Pizzamico.com, and Marc of Pizzamico.com, and Megan Winters of ableeyes.org will join us later at the end of the podcast. So we're going to be talking a little online ordering and things that Marc has going on with that and his website. So stay tuned on the other side, and talk to you soon. All right, everyone, welcome back into Inside the Pizza Oven. I am Freddie the Pizza Man. Now we're going to talk a little online ordering as promised at the beginning of the podcast. And a couple seconds we'll be joined by Marc of Pizzamico.com. It's pizzamico.com. You can find him on Facebook and Instagram. We'll get you his phone number at the end of the podcast. We'll get you his email address. But he's doing some really good things there when it comes to online ordering, websites, mobile apps, and we want him to share his side of the story. And a post that he put out the other day that I want to talk to him about that I found pretty fascinating. I kind of knew about it, but I found it fascinating when I saw it. Marc, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You know, I never did ask you, where am I calling you? In Florida, correct?
Yes, specifically Daytona Beach area. City called Port Orange.
Yeah, you know, I went to I'm 49 years old, and I went to Daytona Beach when I was 18 years old for my spring break. If you know what the spring break is here in America, the seniors go away for a week during Easter break and just go crazy. And that was the last time I was in Daytona Beach, and I can tell you some stories. Some I probably can't tell on air, but I can tell you some stories.
Well, I've been in the area for about 8-9 years, and I've seen quite a lot. I know the spring break culture has definitely changed over the years, but I'm surprised you've returned. So many people stayed.
Yeah, I wanted to get back to Michigan. Where are you originally from, Marc?
I'm originally from Serbia and Montenegro, which used to be part of Yugoslavia.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great.
So I'm European myself, and I've been in U.S. for about 10, 11 years now.
Okay. Great. I one of my best friends is Albanian, so I know he's from there near the region. I don't know exactly all the regions over there, but I know Yugoslavian and Albanian is strong cultures for sure. Good people, I can say that.
Absolutely, actually, quite a lot of them who I know in the pizzeria industry are from Albania and ex-Yugoslavia, and quite a lot of them here in Florida too.
Here in Michigan, a lot of them are in the Coney Island business. The Albanians, they love the Coney Island business. So I don't know about there in Florida, but I know here in Michigan, my friend he's got 4 Coney Islands. So they love the Coney Island business, and they do very well. Hard workers, just like the Italians and the Greeks and the Arabs and the Albanian, Yugoslavian, hard workers, hard working people. So now,
as long as everyone respects the craft and gives the respect to what it means to run a pizzeria, it's all good.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm in my 38th year, and I still do 80 hours a week, and I it's tough, but I love it every day. When you work for yourself, it's the best thing in the world. Now let's talk a little bit about your website and online ordering, and Pizzamico.com, Pizzamico.com. What do you got going on with your website there, Marc?
Well, really, what we created is we've created a new employee for the pizzerias, meaning that we are not trying to be Pizzamico is not trying to be a middleman, third-party platform that takes customers away. Instead, we see Pizzamico as an extension of Pizzerias team that is in charge of making sure that pizzerias' websites have online ordering, or that pizzerias that do not have websites have a website, have a mobile app, so that they can compete in today's digital age.
Okay. And you work with pizzerias all over the United States?
Yes, all over the United States. We originally started a couple of years ago right here in Florida, in Daytona Beach area, and then within a year we've expanded into other states, starting with New Jersey, New York, and then from then on we went pretty much coast to coast. And now we're probably in around 20 states across the country, if not more.
Now, how long have you been doing this website and online ordering and the mobile apps?
The idea originally started back in 2016. My background actually is in hospitality and tourism. Actually, back home before coming to U.S., I went to high school of hospitality and tourism, and you know how funny life gets to be. You know, I studied business in college. I've actually worked hands-on with quite a few local small businesses and startups, and I got very interested in software, and I got specifically interested in the internet. And then we had several occasions with the co-founders that I worked with at the time. We were working at a different company altogether, and we were having not so great experiences with finding local pizzerias. And then when we would find them, you know, it wouldn't be the easiest for us to order. And then one day, one of the local pizzerias here in Daytona Beach delivered the food to us, and it turned out to be the manager. And the manager knew us well. He knew what we were doing. He knew that we were in software engineering. So he asked us, how, you know, he said, we're so behind. We've been in business since 1988. We've never had a website. We've never bought a domain for ourselves. We've never done anything digital, and we're noticing our sales changing. We're noticing that everything is moving really fast. How much would it cost for you guys to make something like these big chains have? And then we threw out a number that was ridiculously high, of course, because it's a very complex system, and these companies have been in business for a very long time. That experience, combined with our personal experiences when it comes to ordering over the phone, prompted us to take a deeper look into the restaurant industry as a whole, specifically pizzerias. And what we came out with, based on the interviews we've done with local owners and just reading reports, industry reports like the Power Industry Report by PMQ and reports by Pizza Today and several other publications, we've come to a realization that pizzerias really need help, and they need someone who's not going to be there as a middleman. They need someone who's not going to be there, who's going to take away from the brand. Instead, they needed someone who's going to, you know, build their brand, you know, help them save money, help them save their data, so that they can be the center of action and not some third-party company. And that's how it really started. So we started with one pizzeria here in Port Orange, where we actually ended up volunteering for about a month. We literally did prep work. We delivered food. We handled orders. We've done anything and everything so that we can get hands-on experience of working in a pizzeria. Because I tell people, go to a pizzeria on a Friday, Saturday evening. If you can survive that, you can survive anything.
Yeah.
And it really created this empathy, an understanding with what these people are going through every single day, and that food making is just a piece of the puzzle. And then there's so many pieces that, especially, considering today the fact that it's not easy to find good help, it's a challenge for quite a few pizzerias. We realize that they can, that they will take in any help that they can get. So that's how the story really started. And fast forward, one day I came across you, and you came across me, and now we're talking.
Now, I don't want to name the other names, and but how are you different than the other people in the industry that deliver food? I used one of them for a few months, and I actually, I can tell you, I took their laptop and pretty much threw it out the window. It was just a nightmare. They get a lot of bad pub from what I see on social media. What makes yours different than what they're doing?
So right off the bat, we focus specifically on the software side completely. So we do not have like a delivery service that we try to implement into pizzerias and restaurants. The industry, the whole space, is dominated by what you just mentioned, which we call, third-party middleman platforms. So these are platforms that want your customers to go to their platform, so that that platform can collect all the data of the customer, and they charge you usually around 15 to 20% just for the service of placing an online order. And obviously, if they offer the delivery service, those charges can go up as high as 35%. And the problem with the model is that while it can work for some pizzerias if they know how to handle it, ultimately it's building the brand of those platforms and not the brand of the pizzeria, and it's taking the control away from the pizzeria.
Yeah.
Unlike that model, what we're trying to do is, like I mentioned before, we're trying to be the extension of the pizzeria's team. We do not exist as far as the customer is concerned, but we do all the work in the background to help increase the traffic and help the customers discover the website of the pizzeria, the actual website the pizzeria might have already. Because a lot of times we come across pizzerias that already have a website, and their website is in great shape, but it doesn't have a capability to handle online orders. So we go in and we set up everything from A to Z, and we do not start making any money until we start bringing in orders. And then when we start bringing in orders, we make a small flat dollar amount per each order. Okay. And that's it. And we provide the whole 9 yards from setup to maintenance as we go.
Yeah, and I know a lot of pizzeria owners that are listening. When you deal with third party, you're basically in the hands of the delivery driver that shows up or doesn't show up to pick up the food, and when he or she feels like picking it up, So someone listening wants to get on board with Pizzamico.com. You can help them draw people to their website, online, and their online ordering, maybe mobile apps, so they can draw more traffic into their pizzeria or restaurant. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. The idea is that we do not exist for the customer. It's all about the pizzeria. Pizzamico name is not really for the people who are trying to order the food. It's the name that pizzeria owners and people who work in pizzeria business are supposed to recognize. Just like your name is recognized in the pizzeria industry, it's the same way what we're trying to do. And some pizzerias obviously do not have their own delivery service, and some pizzerias only offer pickup. Can we help those pizzerias? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we technically work for the owner. So if the owner wants to do things a certain way, we do it that way. So we want it to work exactly based on the unique needs of that specific pizzeria. Which can vary, obviously, from one geographic region to another.
And that's really good, because again, the other people who are doing it don't work for the pizzeria or the owner. They're working for themselves, collecting all that data, and we as the pizzeria owner don't even get any of that data. We don't see any of it. They get it, and you heard the story. So that's a good thing you got going on there. So anyone listening want to get a hold of Marc, get a hold of him, Pizzamico.com. He has an email address, Marc@Pizzamico.com. That's MARC@Pizzamico.com. And you find him on Facebook and Instagram. And maybe we'll get a phone number out of him before we end the podcast. Now, I do want to talk a little bit, Marc. You posted something the other day which caught my eye, which I kind of knew about, but again, seeing it caught my eye. You posted on Facebook, online ordering and delivery service has grown 300% faster than dine-in since 2014. When I see something like that, I understand it. It's obvious to me. Tell the listeners why that post makes so much. It just makes so much sense.
So, really, what has happened is pizzerias, especially, obviously, we're talking about independent pizzerias, mostly would have to think about what do they have to do to protect themselves from the big chains. And with the emergence of these third-party delivery services specifically, other types of restaurants that were not traditionally known as restaurants that offer delivery, such as let's say McDonald's, for example, are now offering delivery through these third-party delivery services. And customers are now having way more options than what they had before. So they're not just thinking along the lines of, should I order quality food from a local independent pizzeria or should I offer from Papa John's or Domino's? Now they're thinking, should I order a completely different type of cuisine? And
Burger King, Taco Bell. Burger King, Taco Bell.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah. I know. It drives me crazy when I see that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the surveys actually in that research there was a survey that was saying that 51% of Americans use delivery services to purchase meals from casual dining restaurants.
Yeah.
And that 26% order takeout or delivery at least once a week.
Yeah.
And this is not slowing. I mean, officially as of 2019, as of this year, online orders have taken over any other type of orders across the restaurant industry as a whole. So not just for pizzerias, but the entire restaurant industry. So 2019 is, and you can almost say was, the year of online ordering, the year when the online ordering officially took over. And the coming years are just going to make it even worse. I believe that within the next 3 years, we're looking probably the breakdown to be somewhere around 60-40%. Big chains like Domino's actually, I was listening to a conversation with their CEO several weeks ago, and they mentioned that about 85% of all of their orders were placed digitally, and that over-the-phone orders probably were around 5%, and then the rest were walk-in. And there's a reason why those type of companies are now saying that, we're tech companies, because they're understanding where the source of their income is coming. Granted, we don't want everything to go tech. We have pizzerias that have the, interaction with the customers face to face, and they shouldn't lose that. It's just about understanding that the way the way customers look for us and the way they buy the food has diversified over the years, specifically since the emergence of the smartphone back, 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah, if you watch commercials now for all these pizzerias that are doing commercials, and even Burger King and Taco Bell that I brought up, all they do is advertise online ordering. Order a pizza for so much money online, get something free. That's pretty much everything you see now is drawing people to the phone. And it's funny because I'm the total opposite. I'm old school, pen and paper. I'm just old school. I know the customer when they come in, they know me, I know them, and I'm making their food, and that's it. And I'm going to keep it that way. But that's me personally. So I have no anyone that wants to do the online ordering. That's great. That's if it works for them, that's great for them. And it's when I tell you that post that you posted looks obvious to me because I'm in the restaurant business. I see things and I watch things, and I remember maybe 5 years ago saying, with these phones, people are going to sit home and order stuff more through the phone and get and then the online delivering started happening. It's funny. I tell you this story, Marc. My father, he owned a pizzeria back in the 70s. That's how I got my start. I was a young boy, and I'll tell you a funny story. I always tell people all the time. My father passed away 4 years ago, and I think about him a lot. And I always say my father was Uber. My father was Uber before Uber ever came along in the 70s. My dad used to have a Chinese restaurant next door to his pizzeria, and one time he went over and talked to the owner. He goes, "Listen, I deliver pizzas, and I got 7 delivery drivers, and I'm going to put your menu on my menu. And when people want to order almond chicken, I'm going to send my driver over and pick up the almond chicken. They'll deliver, and I'm just going to add $1 to the bill." That's a true story. So
that's a fantastic idea. Co-promotion, actually, that's something that local pizzerias can be doing. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, telling you to advertise what you just mentioned, and I want to go back real quick to what you just said about being old school. So to me personally, when I hear an owner say, "Marc, I'm not looking to hire you to help me with this," I'm old school. To me, old school really means I care about the product. I will not sacrifice the quality for quantity, and I value the relationships that I have with my customers. So let's say if you compare, let's say, online ordering to phones came about just over 100 years ago, late 1800s, and it took a while before phones became an everyday necessity. And even back then, I remember reading articles. They were saying how the people back in 1902. There's an article of where one journalist was saying that some brilliant genius will invent a telephone that can be carried in the vest pocket, and then the hustling American can wire messages to his wife, telling how busy he is while he's crossing the street. So this is telling you that they understood where the technology could potentially go even back then. So obviously telephone has been synonymous. If you look at first pizzeria opening in U.S. back in 1905, Lombardi's,
yes.
Right? And you look at the emergence of pizzerias across the U.S., phones obviously have been a reality for decades. So, but what happened with restaurants before the phones? You see what I mean? So
yes.
They had a completely different way of handling orders. So this is, you can almost say, phone 2.0 that cuts your time that you spend, handling the order versus making the order. Because for pizzerias, for example, that are, that they have dine-in service, that dine-in customer is everything, and nothing should be sacrificed. I mean, he should not be sacrificed for the sake of, receiving an online order or over the phone order. It's nice if you can handle it, sure, but that dine-in customer, that customer that walked in to talk with you face to face, there is nothing greater than that.
I love that.
That really allows you an opportunity to build a relationship. What all these evangelists out there, technology evangelists, are saying is that there is just a more efficient way for you to do what you do, so you can do also more of it if you want to do it. And obviously, some people really can't handle any more business. Like I had situations where I would, I have friends here locally who own Italian restaurants, and they really can't take in more business, and that's an amazing blessing.
Yes.
And if you're that type of a pizzeria, hats off to you. Do what you do. If it works, absolutely. But for the other pizzerias that, are losing their minds with phones ringing all the time, and we all know that phones take, an average 2 to 5 minutes to handle an order. when you get an online order, you can handle an order within literally seconds. And that also cuts down significantly on your operational costs. So we're talking about, like, let's say every 100 orders, you cut probably 2 hours out from your operational costs. Not to mention that you don't, headaches of incorrect orders. Customers sometimes say, well, I didn't order that. And you wrote it down and you're pretty sure you heard them well, but some customers want to give you a hard time and say, well, that's not what I ordered. And when restaurants receive online orders, the customer is the one who made the choice of what they really want to order versus, speeding through the order, because especially on Friday and Saturday evenings, you're in a situation where there's so much traffic going through your pizzeria, whether it's people coming to see you face to face, dine in or picking up, or, that you just can't afford to sit on the phone the whole night. Yeah. So, that's why I tell people I see what's happening as a 2.0 off the phone. And however, that should absolutely not affect, whatever makes that pizzeria special, the quality of the food, building the relationships. And actually you could, if handled properly, and it all comes down, if handled properly, you could say that because of the emergence of the internet, we have just created an additional way to stay in touch with the customer, which is something you're doing fantastically, and you're promoting the initiatives that are really close to your heart, like, dealing with autism and fighting autism, and you talk a lot about this through your social media handles. And I tell pizzerias, the type of media that is social media is a fantastic tool to truly show the world what you're about, because you can give them an insight into your operation, behind the scenes, how your food is made. You can talk about your values as an owner and what your pizzeria stands about even better than ever before. And what I see it as is an opportunity to just create more contact points with the customers, because if you can do that, now you really, really have them. And today, when information, there's so much information going around that people just don't know what to do anymore. Yeah. Information overload.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So,
life is like when you're on social media and you take your thumb and you go up and down on posts. That's how fast life goes by now. It goes, and that's the way it goes. It goes quick, and if you want to stand out, you really got to stand out if you want to. And you brought up a lot of great things, Marc, and this is one of the biggest reasons why I do the podcast. I don't even have time to be doing a podcast. I'm so busy with work and kids and my foundation, but I love hearing all the different stories. And you brought up something about some pizzeria owners can't handle if they got enough business. Some pizzeria owners don't want to deliver. Some don't want to do social media. Some don't want. You said it. It caught my ear. Was some want to just worry about the quality and not the quantity. I can tell you, for me personally, I run my pizzeria just like that. I worked as a kid with my dad in the 70s when he had his pizzeria for 30 years, and he had many, many delivery boys. Then I opened my own pizzeria at 21, and I had all these delivery boys and all these pizza guys, and used to work till 1 in the morning. And then one day I said, I don't want that no more. I don't care about all the money. And then that's how I ended up here at my place. And I got 4 tables. I don't print menus. I don't advertise. I don't do anything like that. I got one phone, and half of the time when it's busy at lunch, I don't even answer it. I want to make 5. I rather make 5 good pizzas, talk to my customer, get to know them, instead of making 15 and making a little bit more money. Everyone comes to a certain time in their life when they want to do certain things, and I've come to that point, and I've never been happier. But that's why I love hearing all the stories. You make a lot of good points. So many pizzerias are in different situations. You see a lot of it.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had a blessing of interacting with so many pizzerias all over the country, and I can tell you one thing. What you just said about, let's say, your pizzeria, it's okay. And as long as you know what you're about, as long as you know what you want your brand to be, that's it. The one issue that I've noticed, that a lot of pizzeria owners have is they haven't defined themselves what they want their brand to be. And if you're not the one defining yourself, what you want your brand to be and what you want to stand for, you're running the risk of somebody else defining it for you.
Yep.
And in the digital age, it becomes painfully obvious when, like you said, somebody takes control over your online presence. The point is that you can be in control and that you should be in control. And if that means that, you will just be open from 5 to 9 in the evenings and that works for you, the business that you run, the pizzeria that you run, should be a type of an extension of who you are as a person. It should wear, you can almost say, a signature of yours.
Yep.
Something of you should be imprinted on it, and that's obvious, very, very obvious with your pizzeria. And as long as you know yourself, we all define happiness and satisfaction in our own way. And that's very, very, very important to have direction. I agree with you 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I see a lot of pizzerias that you probably see as well too. Their posts they're kind of confusing. They're just kind of back and forth and trying to promote the pizzeria. I think sometimes you have to be I don't think sometimes you have to be yourself. You've got to be personal. I post pictures of my kids and my wife, or I don't, believe it or not, I don't post a ton about pizza. I don't post no coupons. I want people to know Freddy the Pizza Man for autism, for giving back for autism. And sometimes you got these I say it all the time, you got these sports athletes that everyone knows, and they can do great things in life to help others because they're well known. I'm no big star, but I got to the point in my life where I want to use my pizza fame to give back for autism, and that's where I want to be known. And I may post a picture of a pizza here and there because I'm proud of what I make. And you're 100% right. When you put yourself out there, you got to be definite of who you are. People have to understand who you are, what you're doing. Otherwise, they're going to make the decision. And you couldn't be more truer about that, Marc.
And it starts with you, like you said. You're the one who defines what you want that brand to be, what you want that name to stand for. When somebody hears that name, or when somebody sees the logo, that's tied to that name, that's really, really important. And even going even further than that, you've pretty much talked about being part of the community and standing for something in the community. And I actually listened to this fantastic conversation that a pizzeria owner was having, and what he was doing at his pizzeria to really help the community. So he started something called a community fund within the pizzeria. Something as simple as a piggy bank where the customers can contribute, right? They can contribute their money, and then those funds are used based on what the customers vote for to be used on.
Yes.
So, for example, like let's say here in Florida, we get hit by hurricanes, and one of the customers of ABC Pizza might be, might have their roof taken, off during the hurricane, and now they need $10,000, $5,000 to repair the roof. This is where, pizzeria can step in and be that local hero, because independent pizzerias are almost by definition supposed to be part of the community fabric. And this is just another way for them to show support and love for the community. And that pizzeria actually ended up creating a nonprofit, that's tied to their pizzeria, where, the model stayed the same. Customers or anyone, even local businesses, everyone is encouraged to donate, and then there's a voting system that determines who, where the funds should be and where the funds should go and how they should be distributed. And so, based around helping families pretty much, deal with challenges. I mean, look how many, the tricky topic of, like healthcare, and, so many people have such high bills, and, Imagine you have a customer coming to you for 15, 20 years. That person was part of your success. That person is part of your journey. And what a blessing and an honor it is if you're in a position where you can help this person and give back.
Yeah, I love hearing that story. And what I really like about that story is what I see it a lot on social media, and you probably see this as well. Some people will start charities just to start a charity to say, you know what, it's a good thing if I start a charity. To me, charity's got to start with your heart and soul. If it touches you, then you can do something. You can make a difference. See, that pizzeria, maybe they didn't have a charity in mind, but what they did was they let the customers pick. That's absolutely perfect, because you don't want to just raise money and just give it somewhere when it doesn't touch your heart and soul, Marc. You understand? It's got to touch your heart and soul. For me,
Absolutely.
My son has autism. It touches me. I don't want no money for my son. I want to help other kids. I want to help other teachers. So I love hearing that story that you said, because that pizzeria hit it 100%. Let the people pick, and it's a beautiful thing, man, giving back and helping.
It definitely is. It's an honor, and sometimes I look at these big chains, and I look at the situations where I find it baffling sometimes. When I see to be more active, and that hurts me sometimes, because like I said before, by definition, a local independent pizzeria is part of the community fabric.
Yep.
However, not all pizzerias take that step to meet the community. They live by the old adage, which is, I'll just wait for people to come to me. And sometimes people, need you to be their hero, and they need you to go to them. And whether that's reaching out to a local high school or any type of local organization that you can donate food to, be part of their events. And really, the way the ROI you receive is not just the internal satisfaction, but your business can also develop like this. And it's a fantastic opportunity for them to discover, your pizzeria. And I think we all agree that we would rather, people in the cities, in towns, discover local pizzerias instead of big chains. And the reasons are already known why. So I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. And there are people all around the country doing fantastic things with their pizzerias. I know you've had Scotty from the New York Pizza Tours. He himself is part of a nonprofit that is feeding people who live on the street, homeless people. And I like saying, people who live on the street, because the street is their home. I feel like everybody in a way finds their home, but not everybody wants that to be their home. And the stories, there's so many stories. And my question to everyone listening is, why can't you be the one?
Yeah. Marc, I tell you yesterday.
Why can't you be the one?
Yesterday, I tell you, I was real quickly. My wife and I were going to get some coffee at Tim Hortons over here, and I don't know if you have a Tim Hortons in Florida, but we're going.
No, we definitely not have it down south, but I know it's very popular up north.
Yeah, we're getting a coffee late last night, and I seen an old lady in the parking lot next door at Myers pushing a cart, and I'm like. I told my wife, I go, something is not right about that. She's just it's raining out. What's she doing? So we're in a drive-thru watching. I'm like, and she's just walking around in circles. And I go, something's not right about her. And she came up behind my truck. And it was raining. She hid under a canopy, so the rain wouldn't hit her. And the minute I drove away, I stopped just to keep an eye on her. And I told the people in Tim Hortons, can you guys keep an eye on that lady? Because just something, I got a feeling something is not right. When I pulled out of the drive-thru, she bent down under the drive-thru and was picking up change, because people drop change all the time. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And she looked clean. She looked well dressed. And, when you start thinking about mental health, man, you just don't know. And then when I left, I see the people. I waited. The people from Tim Hortons came out and got her. So maybe they brought her in and maybe got her something. But man, it just the stuff, when you see stuff like that, it just gives you a different perspective with life.
And what you're talking about is perspective, and that's what so many of us lack. The reason why we still don't understand certain things, not just about life, but what's going on in let's say with pizzerias, and we lack perspective. And sometimes being able to put yourselves in the shoes of your customers, the people you work with. I've come across this fantastic pizzeria in Illinois, and it's called St. Giuseppe's, and I met the owner, and he has this thing going on the social media, specifically on the Facebook page, where every week, I believe, or every 2 weeks, he takes one of his team members for a breakfast. So they go out for a breakfast, they talk, and he records pretty much, down on the paper their conversation, and then shares that insight with the rest of the community. There's so many stories that need to be said, because you never know, like the story you just said, how close it hits to someone's heart, and the things that you're doing to combat autism and bring more awareness about it. And I hope in the future, if you have a nonprofit where that I can donate to, I would love to, and I invite everybody to donate to your nonprofit, if they can. Just do something, just don't sit, don't wait for problems to be solved themselves. I know this industry, it's easy to say for people who haven't been in the industry, but for those of us who have, it's a really, really tiring industry. And if you're not managing your health first and foremost, you can't help others, and it's very easy to become a Debbie Downer and become bitter. However, that doesn't have to necessarily be the way. So I've come across owners who have been in business for 40 years, 30 years, 50 years, and their attitude is the same as it was on day one. Yeah. Excited. And they want fresh ideas, and they want to spice up the relationships, that they have with their people and their customers. And then you got people who've been in running pizzerias for 2-3 years, and they're in it for all the wrong reasons. Yeah. They're in it just for the money. And that's not what's going to make you last. And the fact that they don't focus on relationships is what ends up being, in too many cases, the reason for the downfall. But you know what? Like with anything else, even downfall is an opportunity to gain your perspective. So it goes all back to having perspective.
I say it all the time. If you get in a pizzeria or a restaurant business just to make money, you never will make money. And people may say that 3 or 4 times. Say, well, that doesn't make sense. No, it makes a lot of sense. If you're in it for the money and you don't have no passion, you never will make money. See, Marc. This is why I do the podcast. See, I love talking to people in the industry. I love learning stories. And the beginning of the podcast, we were talking about Pizzamico.com, and we're going to end it with that as well. We're going to talk more Pizzamico.com, but we just talk about life and our experiences, and it makes the podcast just so much fun. I enjoy it. I said we were going to talk 20 minutes. We're already going on 43 minutes, and I can go in there 2 hours with you if I had the time.
Likewise. I mean, it's an honor for me too. I know usually you mention sports, and obviously coming from Europe, we do not have a culture developed around football, or what we tend to call American football, or gridiron. And one team, funny enough, I know you're a diehard Lions fan, and the man who really got me interested in American football, or let's just call it football, is Barry Sanders. Oh. And to me, that's actually the player. Everything that he's achieved, his demeanor, the fact that he's an anomaly. He's one of those players that sticks with a team throughout his career. I know the retirement, hasn't been as clean there were a lot of controversies why he retired, and people were saying, well, you retired too early. He was about, what was it? I believe 1,500 yards short of his rushing personal record, career record. But what people don't understand is that man today preserved his health.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be just about the money. It's about the journey. And Barry Sanders, when I look at, I was actually watching highlights of him again last night. He's the man who really, he's one of the players who really got me into the game. And I wish we had a player like that in the NFL who literally just creates magic. And he's just not waiting for the ball to be passed to him. He literally is given the ball and then he just runs, and it's fantastic to watch. I mean, what that man was able to do, people, 2, 3, people would try to tackle him. They couldn't take him down. It's amazing player, amazing player. And I know that he has a very special place in the heart of Lions fans. So
yeah,
it just happens that was the player that I've known of him pretty much since the moment I came to U.S. and I started looking more in the sport, going to the games in college, and then I said, well, I'm in the U.S. I should learn more about the local culture. And when I came across Barry Sanders, I was like, that's the man. And the fact that he's not boastful, when he scores. Fantastic. It was magic. It was really, really magic. I watched a documentary about him too, and what a fantastic player.
Yeah, I cried when 2 players retired in the NFL, Barry Sanders and Dan Marino, 2 of my favorites, only for selfish reasons as a fan, because you miss watching them play and the people that they were.
Yeah.
And, I still watch highlights of those 2 guys all the time. So kind of end it. I want to ask you a quick question. And I want you to plug Pizzamico at the end. Now, I don't want you to give me a favorite pizzeria, but when you go out to eat, give me a pizza that you like to eat, or if it's not pizza, give me another food that you go out and you like to eat.
Well, when I go out to eat, as far as pizza is concerned, obviously it's New York style pizza most of the time. That's what I've been, pretty much my taste buds were trained from day one, to like. And I did try other styles. Obviously, in Florida, we do not have as big of a diversity, as some other regions, obviously like Northeast and Chicago. However, when I go out, I obviously go, to one of our local independent pizzerias. So as far as the type, that's New York style is what I usually go for. Obviously, having been raised in Europe, I like the Napoli style pizza also in wood fire oven. That we actually have a fantastic pizzeria here in Orlando area called Antica Pizzeria, and they make literally everything from scratch, including their mozzarella and mozzarella bufala, and that's where you really get the real flavors. And then when I go out, just in general cuisine, I have a very diverse palate. I can eat Greek food. I like a lot spicy food, so a lot of Southeast Asian foods, go well with me. Japanese food, obviously, Serbian food. Really, really a variety. I don't have necessarily one cuisine that I stick with, but pizza is a special topic.
That's one.
Obviously, I have a privilege of trying many different pizzas, every week. So
that's one thing. One thing I've never had was is Japanese food, and I got one next to my house. One day I got to bring my wife out on a date. I got to bring her there because I've never had it. Never in my life have Japanese food. So I try it.
And it's right next to you.
Yeah, right next to me. Yeah, well, when I come to work every day and then go home, you don't feel like stopping nowhere.
No, I think you got yourself a date then.
So
that's for sure.
Let's plug the end of the podcast, pizzamico.com, pizzamico.com. Where can they find you, and how can they get a hold of you?
You just mentioned, that's the official website. Obviously, they can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is where we try to post a lot of photos with the owners that we work with, the pizzerias that we work for. And they can also reach me. If you would like, I can also provide my phone number if anybody wants to call me. And for anyone listening, if they have any questions whatsoever, forget Pizzamico. Just in general, if they want to talk to someone who has quite a few ideas when it comes to marketing and sales and business development for pizzerias, and they're not sure what they could be doing, just give me a call. I'll be very glad to you can say consult for free, and that's what I do every single day anyways. I'm on the phone with pizzeria owners every single day. They're asking me and they're giving me feedback. And if they want to reach me, my phone number is 386-259-8288. You can even text me or you can call me. That's my Pizzamico number. And like I said, it does not have to be about Pizzamico at all. It can be about anything, tied to the pizzeria. They just need someone to bounce ideas off of. That's what I'm here for.
I say the same thing all the time. I always tell people, anything you want to know, you can reach out to me too. I'm not. I have no problem with helping people and this and that. And if you want to get a hold of Marc and you didn't get that information, get a hold of me, and I will get a hold of Marc. His email address is marc@pizzamico.com. Marc, listen, what a treat talking to you today. Had a great time talking to you. I know we talked prior in the past, and we really couldn't do anything together when it come to my pizzeria and Pizzamico. But listen, keep in touch. You're a fascinating guy. I think we got a lot in common.
What matters is the relationship. That comes first, and then everything else comes from there.
Yep, and then relationships grow and things change, right? So you just never know, right? That's how it starts.
Just make sure you're nurturing them.
Absolutely. Okay, brother. I'll get a hold of you, and I'll let you know when this goes out, and keep in touch. Thanks for being on.
Freddie, thank you very much for having me, and I hope we can do something like this again in the future.
We will,
Take
for
care.
Sure. Bye-bye. Well, thank you to Marc there at Pizzamico.com. What a great we've talked in the past, and he's doing some great things there. Just my pizzeria didn't match up just because of the way I run it, but doesn't mean yours doesn't. And you should get a hold of him because he's doing some great things for a lot of pizzerias. He can help you do some good things, and it's not always about money. So remember that. And as I said, we talked about earlier, if you just get in the pizzeria or the restaurant business or any business just to make money, you never will make money. So it just does make a lot of sense if you repeat that 2 or 3 times. Thanks for tuning in. And on the other side, Megan Winters of ableeyes.org will join us. Thanks, guys. All right, everyone. As promised, let's talk ableeyes.org. With me, co-founder and CEO, Megan Winters. What's up, Megan?
Hey, Freddie. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Of course. And we want to talk about Able. We talk about it every week on our podcast, Real Talk Autism Podcast, and we thought, well, we should have you on, and we finally got a few minutes. And before we talk about ableeyes.org, tell the listeners a little bit about you and a little bit about your background.
So I guess personally, I have a husband and 2 boys at home. My background professionally is I was a special educator. I taught students with autism for several years. And then I also was an assistant principal for the last 3 years of my career before starting AbleEyes. Yeah.
I obviously I met you and your husband, Evan, at the golf outing, and thank you so much for being a part of it. Is he part of AbleEyes with you as well?
Yes, he is one of the co-founders and probably one of the main reasons that AbleEyes exists. He kind of created this. This was actually an idea, a dream of mine that I had, I don't know, maybe 7 years ago. And I kind of tried to pursue it back then. It didn't pan out at the time. And then he kind of reintroduced it into my life when he introduced me to Brian Town, who's the CEO of Michigan Creative, and which they're a marketing company in the Lansing area. Mm-hmm. And they were super excited about the idea and became kind of the third co-founder of AbleEyes. And so none of this would even have happened if Evan hadn't made the introduction. Fantastic.
Are you doing this full time? Are you juggling another job or doing this? What are you doing?
This is my full-time gig. I dove in head first. And, I was an assistant principal in 2017. And at the end of that school year, I left to pursue this dream.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, obviously you know about my charity, and the charity is, between the kids and the restaurant. I don't have time to do any of it, but I do it. It's a ton of work, isn't it? Ton of work.
It is, and right now I'm out of town, and tomorrow I'm out of town, and just really pounding the pavement so that I can get the word out there and share the awesome things that we're doing and provide a great resource and a free resource to families and individuals with all disabilities out in the community.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you're doing good things like this, your head is always churning to do even more and help even more people. And that takes us to ableeyes.org. Tell the people before we talk about the website and how they can contact you. Tell us more about what Able Eyes does.
So there's actually two services that we provide on the Able Eyes website. The first service is we have video modeling, which is these are very short instructional videos, simple videos. These are it's a research-based strategy, and I used it when I was in the schools. I would make videos to help teach my students, who are typically visual learners, how to complete some very simple tasks without me saying, do this, and kind of saying all the steps. So having just a visual tool that takes all that auditory out of it can be very, very powerful. Mm-hmm. So we have a video modeling library, and then we have 360 virtual tours. And those are, this is really the meat and potatoes of what Able Eyes is. This is an accessibility tool for individuals that maybe have autism or really any disability or even anxiety, so they can virtually experience a location before physically walking in. So it's like what you see on Google Maps or in real estate when you can see a house before you go there. Mm-hmm. Able Eyes allows people to see a space before they go there.
Yeah, and I know with my wife and me having a child with autism, it's very hard to go to places, especially when they don't know where they're going and what it's all about. This is a great tool.
Absolutely, and it's kind of where obviously where my passion comes from and the idea comes from is, when I was in the schools, I had so many families that were just not going out into the community and not experiencing life and not going on vacations and not even going out to dinner as a family, just out of fear of the unknown, and having a tool where both the family and the child or adult can see that space ahead of time and kind of prepare can really increase the success of going out into the community.
Yes. Well, tell everybody about the website and how they can contact you, email, phone, whatever you want to give out.
Okay, yeah. The website is ableeyes.org, ABLEEYES. And my email address is Megan, MEEGAN, at ableeyes.org. I am very responsive to emails. We're on all forms of social media, so please reach out. That's where we do a lot of you can sign up for our mailing list and our email newsletters through the website, and that's where a lot of our updates are. So social media is a great way to stay in touch. Yeah,
and I follow them as well on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm sure you are on Instagram as well, Able Eyes. So, and if you missed any of that, just contact Freddie the Pizza Man. I will put you in touch with Megan and her husband Evan. No doubt about it. So, Megan, thank you very much for a few minutes. Yeah,
thank you so much for having me, Freddie.
Talk to you soon.
All right,
bye-bye.